Diddy's ex wrapped up her testimony today after 4 grueling days on the stand.
You gotta go back to the drugs and the alcohol, man. The drugs and the alcohol, man. And those things will make you do strange things.
Singer Don Richard testifies that Sean Diddy Combs hit Cassie Ventura with a skillet full of eggs.
What if I told you the courtroom froze when a witness said Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet full of eggs? That's exactly what happened during the first week of Diddy's explosive trial. Former Danity Kane singer Don Richard took the stand, and her testimony stunned everyone in the room. She didn't just speak as an outsider. She was inside Diddy's world, working closely with him for years. And what she saw, she said, still haunts her. Don told jurors about a violent night at Diddy's Los Angeles home in 2009. He allegedly came downstairs furious about his missing phone. According to her, he threw Cassie to the ground, tried to kick her, and then struck her with a skillet full of eggs. Cassie curled up into the fetal position, trying to protect herself. Dawn said she was too scared to step in, but what she witnessed stayed with her. Her voice shook as she described the moment. Not only did she claim Diddy dragged Cassie upstairs after the attack, but she also said she heard glass breaking from another room. That wasn't the image of a music mogul. That was the image of a man out of control. This wasn't just a shocking story, it was a turning point.
Kane alum Don Richard, who began working with Sean Diddy Combs while competing on his show Making the Band in 2004, took the stand after Cassie wrapped her testimony May 16th. Richard joined Combs' group Diddy Dirty Money after Danity Kane disbanded. While on the stand, she told jurors that she saw Combs hit Ventura with a skillet full of eggs at his Los Angeles home in 2009. Richard testified per NBC News. He came downstairs asking where his phone was, and he threw her to the ground. He attempted to kick her. She fell to the ground and went into the fetal position, literally trying to hide her head. In addition to striking Ventura with the skillet, Richard said Combs put his arm around the singer's neck and took her upstairs before she heard glass breaking. Richard added, "I was scared for her. I was scared to do anything."
And it was only the beginning of what Dawn had to say about Diddy's alleged abuse behind closed doors. But what she revealed next about Cassie's daily life with Diddy left the entire courtroom in silence. Dawn Richard didn't stop at one story. What came next cut even deeper. She described a pattern of fear and control that surrounded Cassie every single day. According to Dawn, Diddy's anger wasn't rare, it was constant. His outburst created a tense environment where people walked on eggshells, terrified of triggering him. And Cassie, she said, took the worst of it. Dawn made it clear, this wasn't gossip. She witnessed it herself. She saw how Diddy's words broke Cassie down over time. In one incident, he screamed at Cassie so viciously that her body physically reacted. Dawn said it wasn't just the yelling, it was the threatening tone, the way he twisted situations to make Cassie feel powerless. She said it felt like Cassie was trapped, unable to fight back or escape.
She's gonna have to bring up into the lawsuit that Diddy stopped the way that she was working and how she could work by the fact that he would change, like you just said. What she would do, bro, he would turn off her mic and don't let her sing songs or don't let her do certain things, a part of the band, when he didn't do her sexual advancements. I don't know what to say about that, brother. All I can say is that, you know, all of it sounds like using his power. He's using his power to get at people that works for him. And when you do that, when they bring you to court, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose if they can prove.
What struck the courtroom wasn't just the story, but how Dawn told it. Her voice, filled with pain and anger, made it obvious she had held this in for years. Legal experts said testimonies like hers, personal, detailed, and emotional, can change the course of a trial. It wasn't about vague claims. This was a first-hand account of abuse, control, and fear. The jury wasn't just hearing accusations, they were seeing the emotional scars through Dawn's eyes. And if the jury thought that was the worst of it, they weren't prepared for what came next, a secret audio tape that flipped the courtroom upside down. Just when the courtroom thought it had heard it all, a secret audio recording was played, and it changed everything. The tape featured Cassie, and her voice was filled with raw emotion. She was reportedly threatening a Diddy associate who had video footage of a violent altercation. Her tone wasn't calm, it was desperate, angry, and heartbreaking. Cassie's words revealed just how deep the fear ran. Legal analysts said this wasn't just a moment of rage, it was a breaking point. Years of emotional pressure seemed to boil over in that recording. It didn't sound like someone trying to hurt others, it sounded like someone trying to survive. The jury listened closely, eyebrows raised. Silence filled the room. For the first time, they could hear Cassie's pain, and it left a mark. This wasn't a performance. It was real, raw, and undeniable. But instead of helping the defense, what happened next only made Cassie's story stronger.
Diddy's ex wrapped up her testimony today after 4 grueling days on the stand. The defense hit her hard during cross-examination, asking her about a stint in rehab for PTSD, a rape allegation, and asking her to read explicit text messages from over the past 15 years.
The defense tried to turn the audio against Cassie. They claimed her emotional outburst proved she was unstable and unreliable. They pointed to her past, rehab for PTSD, a rape allegation, and messages like, "I'm lost without you," hoping to damage her credibility. But that move may have backfired.
Text message. Cassie writes, "I'm lost without you."
We know now that she called herself Cece for Cassie Combs. We know now that she wanted to have a child with him.
Jurors also heard an audio recording where Cassie could be heard threatening to kill a Diddy associate who had video of one of her freak-offs with Diddy.
The jurors were shocked. I saw the eyebrows raised.
Cassie was asked about receiving a FaceTime from her now husband while she was having sex with Diddy.
I think they're trying to use what they can again to discredit her as
Instead of weakening Cassie's case, it showed how much she had endured. Legal experts explained that survivors of abuse often show signs of trauma. Her struggles didn't discredit her. They explained her. Rather than painting her as irrational, the defense accidentally revealed how deeply Diddy's alleged control may have affected her. The jury wasn't just hearing about Cassie's pain. They were seeing how it shaped her life. The more the defense pushed, the more real her story became. And the next witness, she was someone with a front row seat to Diddy's world, ready to add even more weight to Cassie's claims.
She witnessed, and she's saying that she witnessed a gangbang, which actually we know it as called a train. And she worked on the album, The Train to Paris. And like I heard one of the YouTube, it could be Tistel, say that we didn't know what the train to Paris meant. But now we know that the train to Paris was a train in Scotland. It wasn't a train in Paris, it was a train in Scotland. Every time I have a witness doing something is when 2 guys and 2 girls will go in the room. And that was just regular. And however they did it, whatever they did, that was their business. But he gotten bold enough, whereas that he would do that in front of Dawn and other people at a poolside in Scotland. You sure it was Scotland, man?
That next witness was Dawn Richard, and she didn't hold back. As a former member of Danity Kane and later part of Diddy's group, Dirty Money, Dawn worked closely with him for years. She wasn't just around Cassie occasionally, she was part of Diddy's inner circle. Her testimony gave jurors a rare look behind the curtain of his empire. Dawn described moments when Diddy held meetings wearing only his underwear, even after she asked him to stop. She claimed he made inappropriate comments about her body, walked into her dressing room unannounced, and even touched her without permission. She also said she was forced to witness disturbing sex acts and was exposed to an environment filled with fear and control.
Richard accused Combs of sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and a hostile work environment by being exposed to sex trafficking and sex acts. She also alleged that she was a victim of false imprisonment. In her suit, Richard stated she was seeking compensatory and punitive damages, as well as other costs for post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and emotional suffering, and financial losses she suffered as a result of Combs' alleged behavior. Combs has denied her allegations. His lawyer told E! News in September, Mr. Combs is shocked and disappointed by this lawsuit. Richard's testimony in Combs' ongoing trial comes 8 months after she accused the rapper in a lawsuit of subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, and false imprisonment. The lawsuit, filed in September, obtained by E! News, stated, Mr. Combs frequently held meetings with Ms. Richard wearing only his underwear, despite Ms. Richard's protests and repeated requests for him to put on clothing. In her filing, the 41-year-old also alleged that Combs ordered her to strip down to her underwear, made demeaning remarks about her body, and entered her dressing room unannounced while she was unclothed, and touched her without her permission under the guise of showing the stylist what to do.
For Dawn, this wasn't just about Cassie, it was personal. She said she too was manipulated, mistreated, and silenced. Her words didn't just support Cassie, they showed a disturbing pattern. But even with all that, what came next would shake Diddy's public image even more. Dawn Richard's final blow came when she described Cassie's life in one chilling sentence. She spent most of her time just trying to survive. Those words hit the courtroom like a thunderclap. Reporters said you could feel the energy shift. People sat in silence, absorbing the weight of that moment. This wasn't about one argument or one fight. According to Dawn, it was about years of emotional abuse, manipulation, and fear. She painted a picture of Cassie being trapped in a toxic relationship where Diddy held all the power. It wasn't just physical, it was psychological, and the control ran deep. Observers noted how jurors reacted, some visibly moved, others leaning forward, hanging on every word. That line about survival summed up the fear and trauma Cassie allegedly lived through. For many, it felt like the trial had reached a turning point, but even as Dawn's testimony echoed in the room, the most explosive moment was still to come, a recording that couldn't be unheard. That that explosive moment came when jurors heard a second audio recording, this time Cassie threatening to kill a Diddy associate who allegedly had video of one of their freak-offs. Her voice was fierce, trembling with rage and desperation. The courtroom froze. Some jurors raised their eyebrows in disbelief. The defense quickly jumped on the tape, using it to label Cassie as unstable and dangerous. But legal experts warned this tactic could backfire. To many, Cassie didn't sound violent, she sounded broken. Her words reflected years of pain, fear, and emotional exhaustion. This wasn't about revenge, it was about survival. Her outburst painted the picture of someone pushed to the edge, trapped in a cycle of control with no safe way out. The jury didn't just hear her anger, they heard her trauma. And just when it seemed the drama couldn't get any deeper, another woman from Diddy's past prepared to take the stand. Enter Aubrey O'Day, another former Danity Kane member, who's now preparing to testify. Her history with Diddy goes back years, and she's been outspoken about the pressure she faced under his management. While she hasn't publicly accused him of abuse before, insiders say she saw a lot behind the scenes. Aubrey's upcoming testimony could be a game changer. If she backs up what Cassie and Don have already said, it may show that Diddy's alleged behavior wasn't limited to one person. It was a pattern of control, manipulation, and fear that stretched across both personal and professional relationships. Legal experts say the more witnesses who come forward with similar stories, the harder it becomes for the defense to claim these are just isolated events. Aubrey's voice could add even more credibility to the growing case against Diddy, and it's not just former artists speaking out. Diddy's own employees are lining up to tell their stories next. Now, Diddy's former employees are stepping forward, and that could be the most damaging part yet. These aren't just background figures. They were inside his daily life, handling business, attending meetings, and seeing things the public never could. Their testimonies could fill in the gaps, confirming what Cassie, Dawn, and Aubrey have claimed. Some are expected to speak about what they were told to ignore or cover up. Others may reveal how Diddy allegedly used his power to silence or control anyone who got too close to the truth. When people from different parts of his world start sharing similar stories, the picture becomes harder to deny. It's no longer just a he said, she said situation. The case is growing into a detailed web of accusations backed by multiple voices from different walks of life, and each one adds another layer of pressure. But Diddy's reaction to all this? That's what had everyone talking as the week came to a close. As the first week of Diddy's trial wrapped up, one thing was clear: he was cracking under the pressure. Inside the courtroom, reporters described his body language shifting with every damaging testimony. At first, he sat tall, calm, and confident. But as Don Richards spoke and the audio tapes played, that image started to fall apart. Witnesses say Diddy's expression grew darker, his jaw tightened, and he leaned in, whispering frantically to his legal team. He didn't interrupt the testimony, but his reactions spoke louder than words. For a man known for controlling every room he walks into, this time, he couldn't control what was being said or how it landed with the jury. Observers noted that the jury wasn't just watching the evidence, they were watching him. And each time his composure slipped, it chipped away at the polished image he built over decades. That shift didn't just impact the courtroom, it echoed beyond the trial, shaking public opinion and raising serious questions about the man behind the music empire. Now, with more witnesses expected to take the stand, including Aubrey O'Day and several former staff members, the pressure is only building. Diddy's legacy, career, and freedom all hang in the balance. This trial is far from over, and the next few weeks could change everything. If you've been following the case, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.